Da 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 da! What's my good cheer? Welcome, everybody. I lost track of time. Seriously, I looked at the clock and I went, oh my goodness, it's time to get ready for work. And you haven't even done your live show yet. But I got a lot accomplished. I'm in the midst and in the planning of my trip coming up in 3 weeks. I have got my campsites, my itinerary, I think pretty solid. I've got my campsites all picked out, beautiful views, right? I picked four provincial parks. Well, I picked five provincial parks, but one park is just a day excursion. They don't have camping allowed in there, and I wanted to really see it. So I added it to the itinerary. I've got my amethyst digging. I'm mining for amethyst. That's in there. Oh my goodness. Now that I have some few extras, a few surprises that I'm working on, and I should have a better idea how close I am to some of those spectacular things. This is my cat. It's really curious how this happens. And I think it's because I go into action and that feeling comes in when I start my live show. And for some reason, it's her time to use the cat litter box. And because I like it there, so I always see it, so I can take care of it right away. Unfortunately, it's something I've come to realize I'm just going to have to live with in the moment. But she is a sweet girl, and I love her to death, and she has helped to pull me through some of those difficult times that lots of us have gone through in the past few years. And in talking and starting in like that, how about a cup of the day, right? Here in Canada, I don't know about other countries what it represents, but here in Canada, the poppy is very much um, an icon for us to take into for remembrance, right? That we remember our soldiers. We have a day dedicated to the soldiers who have lost their lives in skirmishes and wars, and right, you can see where I go, how I feel about these kind of things. And I do understand that we have to get our aggression, and we are alphas, and we're becoming more and more alpha, right, in our movement forward. And we just don't want to get ourselves into the point where, well, we've seen it. We've seen it where, one country will just overcome another one just thinking that they know better. And that's just a very narcissistic idea. And I think, this is world is running pretty good at right now. But and you can say, oh my goodness, Cindy, are you taking a look around? Yes, I'm taking a look around. But I'm taking a look around at what comes across my path. There's a lot of things going on in this world I'm not privy to understanding. And yet some of us become quite expert because in our choices we decided to delve into it and be the expert, or maybe be the speaker for the community, right? That you have that information. There's a reason why you were drawn to it, right? I understand that there's things going on in Maui with the devastating fires, and people have actually lost their lives and their livelihoods and their homes, right? Just their way of living just ripped out from underneath them like a rug. And yes, this has been going on consistently, and it seems like more and more over the past few years. But I think this idea of how, when COVID hit, that we all, right, we all got online. We're all on our phones. We're all looking to entertain ourselves in the lockdown and stuff. And we found things that we enjoyed. We found things that helped to move us forward, right? To give us better understanding, interests, right? Possibilities, conversations, new ways to socialize. And this is wonderful if you're somebody who's never had that opportunity to actually participate, right? Right. And it's important. We can't all just be spectators, and just too many of us are spectators in life. Okay. Draw it back, Cindy, right back to that Remembrance Day cup. We're on our last day today in talking about honor and respect, right? Either or. And both, because there was a reason that there was a slash, and I felt compelled to put those two words together, right? But I'm going to tie this week up in, right, to those who maybe have followed my content for a little while that have gotten to know me a little bit and to see the changes that I've gone through. And, I'm patting myself on the shoulder that I dedicated myself to the lessons, but I only dedicated myself to the lessons because I found them so fascinating, so enlightening, so in my system to take that hairy, scary static out of my system, to help me recognize that I can make choices in my life and that I can untangle some of those wires on my own. And some of them I may or may not be able to untangle on my own, but at least I'm using these platforms in this digital age to serve me, right? And hopefully, in showing up here every day and sharing my story and sharing those paths and decisions and choices, right? Adventures that I take. 3 more weeks, people. I'm so excited. I just want to blabber all the little surprises I got going on. And I put this together, and it wasn't a very expensive one, but I did the very best that I could with the funds that I had, with the limitations that I have in my own life, knowing, right, that at any moment I can make a different decision and my life would look totally different. But there's a reason why my life looks this way right now, and that's my choices, right? And we're going to go in to this Remembrance Day cup because I was trying to think about how do you honor the people who got you to where you are, right? And this is nowhere's near done. It's really scary even to think how far and how deep I'm going to go into this, right? But at some point, I don't suspect that this is going to change. So the best that I could do in my hopes and optimistic ideas that, if I keep this real, if I keep this genuine, if I keep this realistic, right? And keep some of those ideas, right? There's no need for me to bring my ideas about life and death and, right, religion, right? I'm non denominational. And some of those solutions that I want to bring to the table don't require any specific religion, right? You wouldn't be going against your religion to try to use some of these ideas. And lots of them I've learned from from actual people with degrees up the yin yang. I have sat in university lectures with professors, right? Some of my favorite thought leaders are in that business of understanding emotions. They are psychiatrists and mental health workers that are actual experts. I do not have a degree. I have my experience, but I also have my curiosity and my passion. Hello. Oh, Malvin. Right? But we're seeing the narcissism everywheres in this world, and Malvin's got a point there, and it's for each one of us to judge for ourselves, right? Who are we going to allow to mentor us, right? Who are we going to listen to? And we usually end up listening to ourselves, and sometimes we pick well, right, in some of those topics that we're resonating with. But I have gone down side branches so many times and had to bring myself back. And I could say that's wasted time, but even though that information's not for me, it might be for someone. And it also gave me a different perspective of a problem I might have been dealing with, but it just wasn't the solution for me. But information is information, and each one of us gets to decide for ourselves, right? Who are we going to take that influence from, right? We're going to take it from the Coca-Cola company, right? Or as Melvin say, Trudeau, Trump, Biden, right? We can go into some of those countries, but we don't just stay in the countries. We go into the religions and we go into the politics, and this is why it's important for us to move with our values, right? That if these networks were more tighter in their values, and a lot of them are very, 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 very much alike, and that's why I say, right, all paths lead to. And being non-denominational, it hasn't slowed me up, I don't think, in any way. I actually believe that it's kept me open-minded to different ideas, and oh boy, I have gotten some perspectives, some beautiful perspectives. I love perspectives. Give me the biggest appetizer platter of information that you can give, so I can make my own choices and my own discoveries. Okay, draw it back, Cindy. Right? Remembrance. Those lessons that I'm bringing to the table right now are exactly that. Lessons that I've learned through conversations, through networking, through going to workshops, right? I went to Thought Leadership Academy. These events added to my life, these experiences added to my life, these conversations added to my life. And it answered a question. When it answered a question, I went, oh my goodness, I got the answer. My whole life I've been looking for the answer. And it was that easy, right? And then just leave yourself open. But how did I learn these lessons, these amazing lessons? How did I learn to draw myself away from the people that weren't doing me any good, that I was just there because I was needed and because I'm empathic and I'm sensitive. I need to feel like I'm needed, right? And I'm not going to apologize for that, right? That's part of the programming, and that programming is in there pretty tight. But if it's that the case, then I should be choosing, right? Who I'm going to serve, how I'm going to serve, right? And I have to include myself in that equation, right? Right? I can't do all of that without taking myself into consideration, because I have to be the example of that. So honoring myself, and we talked about this yesterday, honoring myself, right? And I respect myself for taking myself into consideration, right? But I didn't learn that. That just, right? I learned that somewhere. And some of these things, right? They come into manifestation or come into being just because I've gotten a lesson. But these lessons come from, again, psychologists with degrees out the yin yang, right? They come from other highly sensitives and other empathic people who have shown me the way and shown me the pitfalls and some of those amazing gifts, right? I've taken in lectures from people who are not even conscious to some of the ideas that I think about, but because I believe that science and innovation is tied into this very much, right? And that innovation is definitely our evolution, because in our choices, we're going to evolve, right? And if you stop some of us in our tracks, some things will not come into being. And that's the influence. And when I say everybody gets to choose their own influence, right? I am grateful and in honor of some of my mentors. And are you curious? Right? I practice mindset. So anybody in the mindset community, right? And you go, oh my goodness, right? There's some really doozies in there. Yeah, but it's in our choices, right? And we all make good choices and bad choices, and some of us are allowed to make mistakes, right? Some of us are not, right? When you get so high up there, there's always going to be something or someone trying to pull you down. And even if that person wasn't worthy, there's something they can teach us, right? And it's in our choices. We get to pick. You don't get to pick for me, right? And in friendly persuasion, yes, you can point some things out to me, but it's going to be my choices, right? Right? I've chosen as a mentor, one of my mentors online, right? I've never met him in person. I've never spoken to him, right? But he's actually a professor in psychology, Sam Vatkin. He's an expert in narcissism. And I do believe somebody's very conscious and very well suited to help lead me into some of those understandings, because I've seen the evidence in some of those test waters that, right? This is what you do. You test the waters, you take the lessons, right? You play with the ideas, you go deep. But there are lots of leadership out there in all different aspects of industry. We'll call it industry, right? I'm not going to be a rocket scientist, but I can appreciate Elon Musk and some of those ideas he's trying to bring to the table, right? And you can say that, right, Donald Trump is a big, right, idiot. I don't know. He doesn't seem to come across that way to me. Some of his ideas have rubbed very well with me. And not only that, in going back to history, I do recall that he pretty much saved New York City from itself, didn't he? And we all, I was going to say you, but because I'm not American, right? But because we don't like somebody personally, right? We don't like the way they look. We don't like the way they talk. We don't like where they come from. We don't like their lineage, right? You don't look like how they look at you specifically, right? And that's, again, your choices. I choose to learn from people that I resonate with, right? If I hadn't been offered an appetizer platter to look for myself, and this was, again, another one of my online mentors, and not just online, this was somebody I did go to workshops and I did go to his Thought Leadership Academy, right? And that was Evan Carmichael, right? But I was here working my platform, so I understand, right? That there's a place for me. Maybe it's turning my brand into a business, right? But I don't feel that way, right? I have been so long not having a lot of understandings about what happened to me, right? That it's changed me having the answers to that. It's changed me quite a bit, and for the good, for the bad, it doesn't matter. I made those choices, and I'm right. And in the moment I'm running those choices, I'm called to run with some of these choices, and some of these choices are kind of hard to digest, right? But I'm doing it because I really feel it's the right thing, right? I really do feel that there are people out there that are shining so bright, but in their own lives, they're struggling so much, right? Even just to get the word out there, right? I feel I've been here since 2014, right? Not so important to me because I understand that I'm going to be, right? I'm experiencing my life, right? A life that I'm creating for myself. And I will apply myself, right? And I will show up every single day, right? but I may not, right? I don't feel compelled to be my own boss, right? Maybe somewheres along the line there'll be a few clients that dribble in because they like the light, right? Right? They like the conversations that we have. They like that I take the lessons in. They like that I show up here genuine, that they can feel me out, right? Because it's about that trust and right. And these are all lessons that I've learned, right? And I have to pay honor to these magnificent people that have given me these lessons, right? That have given me the confidence, right? Let me appreciate the quirkiness about myself. Keep me motivated. Keep me moving when I just want to, oh, not one more day, right? And kept me going. And look at it's 2023 and Prairie Dodgers is still here. I was struggling, really, really struggling, right? Thinking about giving up back in 2017, right? Now I'm so comfortable that you can pretty much expect that somehow, right, I will show up here every single day, right? As long as I have a way to do it, right? And this technology has not failed me yet because I've been able to show up here every single day for years, except for that time I take off on when I go on my vacation, 3 more weeks, people. Oh my goodness, I was so into it. I picked my campsites. Oh, just beautiful, beautiful little campsites, right? And I picked places. I'm not going anywhere as I've been before, so I was able to pick five different places, right? But the magic is just starting, right? So I'm working at it, right? We're going to get some of it accomplished because I know as things get tighter and compounded that I will feel more confident, right? Because there's always that nervousness that something's going to happen, right? But it's never failed me yet. And it's always been a fantastic time. And I got this great laptop now with a great editing program that I got the hang on with that tubing video. So we're going to be able to have lots of great video, right? 5 provincial parks we're going, right? I'm going mining for amethyst. I might go to a lodge for a fancy dinner, and if possible, maybe a nice overnighter in one of their cabins. I'm going to be walking some trails, right? And one of those walks, I might not even talk. It just might be a nice forest walk and river walk for my audience. I don't know, right? We're working on it. It's in the works. There's other surprises, but there's surprises. They would be surprises unless they were surprises, right? Okay, so in honor, right, we have to pay attention and honor along the way. We do a lot of congratulating ourselves, and we should congratulate ourselves as we take in the lessons, right? But we have to acknowledge where a lot of those lessons, not all of them, but a lot of them, right? Those wake up calls, those amazing insights that somehow got through a crack and just opened up something enough that you were able to run with it. Oh my goodness. I just spilled coffee on the front of my top. Ah, gonna have to change my top. And this was a nice top for work today. It is what it is, right? And you smile at it because I don't cry over spilt coffee. But maybe it was remind me to get back to that topic, right? Of honoring the people that help us along the way, right? And they might not even know that they're helping you, right? And you return that favor, right? Expecting that they might not know that you're helping them. And you can do that in a lot of different ways. It's one of the reasons I love the job that I have, that I'm able to practice my craft and bring a little bit of light to people's lives that might not have it, right? That might be going through a difficult time, right? And if you don't know where I work in a little thrift shop, right? I work a little thrift shop, and I put equal time into that job that puts the roof over my head so that it allows me to do this, take in the lessons, practice my craft, right? Without that hairy scary, because I'm a true believer in the baby steps, right? And that was one of my lessons. Maybe it wasn't, right? In the repetitiveness, things sink in and you pick them up and you have no idea where you picked them up. But give credit in honor, right? In honor of your lessons. If you know who gave you those lessons, right? Every once in a while, oh my goodness, when I started on this, oh my goodness, I was like fatal attraction. I was like codependent. They call them very codependent. They very 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 attached, and I want to make sure that in this process, right, that if I decided that I was going to, right, I know, I recognize, and even though I don't recognize all the time, I recognize in your recognition. That's the thing, right? That maybe, right, that I'm not dreaming big enough. But the thing is, these are my dreams and these are my choices, and I can choose whatever I want. And if I choose, right, to help the entrepreneurs and not be an entrepreneur myself, right, but to help entrepreneurs, because the thing is, my target audience are empaths and highly sensitives. And in truth, we have a very difficult time working for other people. I believe that we should be working for ourselves. Not only should we be working for ourselves because we are unique, because we have a little something different to bring to the table, right? That should be highlighted. That should be special. That should be specialized. And then that sounds to me that's you're bringing something to the table that nobody else can. So why are you working for somebody else? Why am I working for somebody else and giving those gifts to not my target audience, which in the moment are the sweet ladies, right? And families that come into my store and in gratitude, right? Allow me to practice my craft and see the evidence for myself that I'm on the right path, right? And bring it back one more time to the I keep it Poppy's Remembrance Day. It was the closest thing that I got into saying honor, because right, sometimes we just honor people on those special designated days, right? But how amazing if your husband walked in the door and he said, "Oh, dear, thank you so much. Oh, that was so amazing. You took the garbage out before you went to work. Thank you so much for remembering. Gravy on your mashed potatoes tonight." Right? And it just makes life so much easier, so much more enjoyable, right? Makes it so that we can go to work and actually whistle, right? And I do that. I do that. I'm going off to work today, and even if it was a bad day, I would be whistling because I know by my choices that I could turn that bad day into a good day. And it only takes one conversation, one smile, one hello, and that's the truth. And those are all lessons that I picked up along the way. So, yeah. One for you guys, 100%, right? No crash landings for this girl, right? We're coming in because it does take all kinds to make the world, and I could be easily swayed into something that wouldn't allow that to happen, right? Right? That wouldn't happen if I was a Buddhist, would it? And that's not to say that I might get that moment of, oh my goodness, all of a sudden I'm Islam or Muslim or Christian, right? I am non-denominational in this moment, but I wouldn't be able to do the job that I want to do, right? If I was tied in to one specific denomination, because that would limit, because I truly believe it's as it takes all kinds to make the worlds, those answers, those detrimental answers to our emotional, physical, our evolution, right? Our evolution is all over the place. It's all over the place. And we have to explore that, right? We have to explore that. And that's only in our choices. Okay, you guys, I've got to run off to work. Everybody, have a great day. We'll see each other Monday. If you want to pop into my Instagram tomorrow, we'll be doing an angel card. I don't know what the word. It's just a bowl full of words. I pick a word and we yap on it, just like we did this week. And it's just because it's an early day and I have a great crew there, and it's a way for me to show them that I still appreciate them and I still know that they're there. This show may have come over here to YouTube, but yeah, I've right. I love Instagram too. So tomorrow on the weekend we'll spend it with Instagram. We'll be back on Sunday night if you want to come in for Chatters Live, 7:30 Central. If not, have a great weekend. Bye bye.